It's been 40 years since the first Mount Laurel ruling mandating affordable housing in New Jersey. Governor Kean, from your vantage point, how do you think the process has gone?
It's been a failure, I mean, in my mind, because a lot of towns have had their whole planning impinged on. Some of them lost conservation areas because of it. It hasn't resulted, in my mind, in housing for poor people. Poor people live in cities. They're not going to come out to the suburbs where this decision has had its greatest effect. And so I don't think it's helped the people who it was designed to help. If you really want to help poor people in housing, work on rehabilitate housing in cities. Don't make every small town in the farm country suddenly sort of. Courts have failed on this one, I think, and we ought to take a relook at it with the legislature.
How do you see it, Governor Florio? Has the state reached a crisis, do you think, and what's led up to the current debate on affordable housing?
Well, actually, the court has said on a number of occasions there's a need for affordable housing across the state, and therefore they tried to come up with quotas, so to speak, for each town. The agency which has been created to deal with it, COA, by the state's definition has really failed. Now, it's been 16 years since the last round of quotas have been allocated by COA. And now the court has ordered the state to do it, ordered COA to do it, and they're not in compliance, which is troubling.
How do you initiate a plan, though? How do you make affordable housing available in New Jersey? Through legislation?
Well, let's first look at this thing. I can take you just a few miles from where we're sitting today to one of the first court decision mandated affordable housing areas. You won't find a poor person anywhere near it. It's a nice community for middle class and upper middle class people. But that's not what was intended. What the legislature's got to do, I believe, is do a program for people who are poor, people who are unemployed, and that means doing it where they live, in cities or very close to cities. And then you got to work on the whole rest of the problem, which is trying to get people trained for jobs and all the rest of the problems of poverty.
Is this a legislative issue, do you think, Governor Florio? Is that politically feasible?
It's a legislative issue. The legislature responded to it by creating this agency that's supposed to actually implement the system that they put in place. The agency has not worked very well, and they have not done their job. They've been ordered by the Supreme Court to do it. They failed to do it. There's an order outstanding, and the court is not taking any action. Hopefully they will take action before too long to force the agency to do it, or if the agency doesn't do it, the court will take it under its jurisdiction to be able to have this formula fleshed out.
Yeah, see, Jim and I just disagree, I think, on this one, because I don't think the court has any business in the area. The legislature, as in a lot of things, has not done a very good job on this one, but it doesn't mean I don't think the court can do a better job. I don't think the court has the resources or the vision or the depth to really look at a problem like this and come up with a creative solution.
The problem is that the agency and the legislature hasn't done its job. So what does the court do? As of this point, they're doing nothing, which is troubling, very troubling, because it's a whole question of their independence. The question of their objectivity is now, are they being intimidated to not do anything? An outstanding order is just ignored. But that's just not feasible.
But you see, I think if you take every area where the legislature failed and said the courts ought to do it, the courts should be doing everything.
Well, that's true, I guess.
Yeah, and this is what bothers me. I think the legislature, no question the legislature's failed on this, but I don't think the courts have the ability or the breadth to do the job.
In the end, what do you think the state Supreme Court is going to do?
I think they'll appoint somebody to implement it. Or, I mean, worst comes to worst, they could hold people in contempt. I mean, they've ordered the agency to do what they did, and the agency has not done it. The other alternative, of course, is to go back to what they call a builder's remedy. That if the towns do not do what they're supposed to do, the state doesn't do it, the builders have the ability to go to court to force affordable housing in the towns, which is not ideal.
No, that's not ideal, and it gives the builders profit at the expense of everybody else. You know, we have, of course, too many municipalities in this country, in the state, over 500 of them. And to think of these little towns with builders coming in trying to disrupt a zoning process which has been worked on by good people in some cases for 50 years, and suddenly say, no, we're not. We're going to take this park out of here. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, because the builder has a right to mandate it against local zoning. With over 500 municipalities, that's a bad thing for the state of New Jersey.
Well, this is certainly a very complex issue. And governors, thank you very much for helping us to understand a little bit more about what's at stake and trying to solve this situation in New Jersey.
You're welcome.